email to our contractors. Is that what we did last year? Okay.
And I have a question for Sean. Sean, since we're just doing it one day,
What do you mean one day?
we're only putting it in the newspaper for one day, what day would you recommend? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
You know, I have to apologize. I was in my head.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you're asking
She's asking about, we're advertising in the paper
for.
for one day.
The
For
day.
the-
For the bids.
For the,
For the bids?
yeah, for the
Request for
bids.
proposals.
I don't think it matters, actually.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, if I'm a contractor, I'm always there on a Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
And then towards the week, they tend to, okay, everything's good. And, you know, they wander off.
I know, but I just figured the contractor, well, Nevada,
Yeah, what would you recommend,
what
Bill?
would you recommend? When
No.
do you look for
When do I look to put what?
Yeah.
Yeah, beginning of the week.
beginning of the, okay.
Yeah.
So, John, either Monday or Tuesday?
I think Monday would be good.
Okay, I mean,
Monday.
I can have it ready for this coming Monday.
then I'm thinking that this Monday is, bear with me. This Monday's 21st and we're gonna open the bids on the 9th. So yeah, let's do it Monday.
Okay. Get it to me as early as you can, please.
And I'll get you all those changes. So do you guys have any questions on the construction documents or? And by all means, if you see something I screwed up, don't ever hesitate
No.
to email me and yell at me.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay, Public comment?
Good.
I have a comment. I drove the roads, when I came to the meeting tonight, and I'm wondering about changing, the scope of this project. Whether the section of, 1.4 miles of Chirac and Broken Spurs and the Morgan Court would be done, and whether it would be better to spend that money somewhere else. Is that something we talk about now, or you're just gonna go out for bid?
now we're bringing the bids.
Okay.
Yeah, and only because last month we talked about it and then the board authorized to just bid it all out.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bring back the numbers for every project. And at that time, if there's some heartache with one or two, because we actually set it up in the language where we can add or subtract from this. So
Right.
if the board has heartache with one of them, then when we go back and sign the deal with the contractor, which will probably be me if the board approves, I would just take that out of it and say, this is the scope of what we're gonna do. So,
Thank you.
all right. Moving on, aggregate servicing projects.
Okay. As you guys recall, when we were talking about covering rangeland from Winnemucca to Peak, Greg had some concerns about some of the roads in between, the rest of that towards Pyramid. And so I've come up with what I'm pretty sure this is what he needs, is an extra mile from Peak to Gray Band. That's got some of the most wear and where a lot of the dirt is starting to come through. So I just added that mile and it's about 19,000. So we can just keep on going once we start it. And the Bacon Rhine North project, I'd planned on putting some of the DG on, which was going to be in-house, right? We were going to go ahead and do everything from our Ironwood pit. And that was what was just going to go on top of Quakey up there and over at Bacon. Well, since I was over looking at materials, Tykert has now started producing, and they haven't even produced a lot of it. This is a new system for them, is recycled base. And if you wanted to pass those, I have 3 samples here of, one's the recycled, one's the typical type 2, and one is our Class C. And you can kind of get an idea of what kind of stuff is in there. And if you look and touch the Class C, you will feel the clays. Okay. As a test run, putting it over that mile of sticky stuff over on Bacon. And if it comes out okay, and because now it's going to be, we will still do the in-house trucking, but as far as the material, it'll be 13.2 for the recycled. I got them down. I asked them if they'd give us a break, and they did come down on what their normal cost was.
How much ton?
It's $9.25. So if we were to do an extra mile on any road, and instead of doing E, if we like this product, instead of having all the stickiness, it's going to cost another $4,500 a mile to do that, to use this product. And if that's the case, I think it might be wise to switch and transition from the E over to, and we can always put a skim layer on everything we have existing and try and get some of that stickiness to go away. Okay, so that's my possible future road improvements. If anybody would have any questions, let me know.
So let me, real
Go
quick
ahead,
though,
go
he
ahead.
wants to, when Sean talked to me about this, because of the issues on Bacon Run North that we've heard from some of the residents there, he found this material and he wants to try it. I think it's a great idea. We as a district should try it on that mile and see how it holds up and if it works for their concerns up there. And if it does, then we know going forward, we have another product we can use. But I think it's a great road to try to get this
And it's
down.
close.
Yeah.
But not only that, but in the future, right, if we can get out of this, it is something that is a lot. I mean, it's like going to putting type 2 down.
Right.
I mean, we will have to mag it. That's just no doubt about it because those spines, I mean, the rock will, or the concrete crushed will start flailing off to the sides if we don't. But anyway, if you want to do something like that, we can. If not, we can put the DG on it. I just thought it might be a good test run.
What are we getting base for? Just type 2.
Type 2 is 14.50. Actually, it's going up to 15, I think. As of April, it went up. I apologize first.
No, everything did.
And I called, and when I talked to them about this extra 15, they're holding the price for us on the E right now. And then I can get that for
What are
them.
we paying?
6.
You ever thought about maybe conditioning the two of them together?
I've even requested
Yeah.
that, and they wouldn't work with me. We would have to bring everything to a,
Bring pile it, just condition,
And then just start
condition them
doing-
ourselves.
yep, and that would not
I
be
really, I
possible.
like the fracture in this. I really like the looks of it. I really like the price of these. I mean,
There's no doubt about it. $4,000, right, is $4,000.
so.
But for a product that I believe will outlast,
No,
and we don't get, I
absolutely.
mean, you look at all the tracking that we get on every road
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody's car, so.
Oh, yeah. No,
Anyway,
I like the look. I like the look of this. I like the fracture in it. I really do.
And it's,
It's
and
got a lot
that's
of
just a
clay in
handful.
it, so,
Oh, you can feel it.
yeah, oh, yeah. No, plus he's got a lot of clay. That's why it slips, but yeah, I mean, I'm
Anyway, it's something that needs to be authorized and yeah,
So,
if you want to do it.
say public comment on this.
Larry Chesney for the record. I think doing a test strip, looking at new product, anything that helps cut down on overall maintenance over a period of time, I think it's for a 1 mile stretch of stuff that's in really bad shape now. I think it's a good idea.
anytime.
So is that, Sean, are you saying?
Could I
that-
have your name,
Oh,
please?
Jan Mortensen for the record, sorry. But are you saying that that stuff in the bag, the recycled that Nevada is holding, is going to not come off in my garage?
No, everything will come off in your garage. It's dirt. It's not pavement.
Okay, so what is this doing then?
It's instead of the,
We're getting
Yeah,
kind of
I can't-
in the weeds
I can't
here with
talk.
public comment.
Oh,
It's just
sorry.
public
Sorry.
comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can talk after the meeting if you have questions. Go ahead.
You know, along those lines, I mentioned it to Sean, but the company that I used to work for, it's affiliated, I don't have this, it's come up with a polymer that you put on the road dry, or you actually mix it up in the
material.
water truck. And it comes in as a solid. It's a little bit cheaper than that. And it's not, doesn't come out of slip. It really clumps it. So,
But
now I can get a free-
FYI, it's not gonna be mag chloride. It's not gonna be whatever you put on it. The Class E is clay, and you can't do anything with clay, no matter what. Even, like, I didn't do any mag for a while. I wanted to test on some of these roads. And they were like, even matter of fact, Bacon North was one of those roads, and they're bringing in chunks of garbage. right? So it's not gonna matter what we put on it, it's gonna be the material that we put on, and then maybe that material on it.
That's what
Okay.
I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
You know, just going over it, but I can get you a free trial, that's, you know.
Well, there doesn't hurt to have
I
that,
think maybe to do a
especially right
model,
now.
Yeah, it might help. But I'll tell you what, I like the way Amy feels, you know.
Amy is amazing, and that's why I hope we can do that.
And if you,
Okay.
if you, on what you're talking about, Marshall, if you figure that out or have a connection where you want to do and you get a free trial, let me know and I'll put it on the agenda. And then we'll let the board have at it and we'll get it going.
Okay, put it on the agenda for next week and have.
Next month?
Or next month, and do I need to have them come out and do a presentation or anything?
No, if it's
Okay,
gonna be
cool.
free
Yeah,
and Sean's okay with it, yeah.
you want some too?
So Sean, just to clarify, we're trying to transition from E to recycle base because it might hold up better?
Well, we already have E on the road,
Mhm.
right, when, on rangeland, we're already doing E.
Mhm.
We're just extending it, and instead of the 4 inches that we're putting on the first mile, because that stuff, we've already got it, we're redoing, so we just need what's the 2 inches. As far as the, bacon, we're just trying to cover up, and I may come in less, because if I can get them to go and skim, that's all on truck drivers. If I can get them to do the right thing, we will get it tonight, do a nice cover, we're gonna water the heck out of it, use our roller to just mush it into there and get a nice, tight, hopefully, product. That's what I'm shooting for.
And that's the recycle base.
That is recycled, yes.
And we think that that might hold up better.
Well, if what they're saying is that it actually tests as good as regular type 2 base. I mean, or it's not as, it tests, it'll pass the test for anything that the normal base will be put on. The recycled could do the same test they're saying.
Okay.
But recycled versus normal base, there's $5 difference, right? Just like the E to the base recycled is, and it's all about cost for us because we just don't have the money, and that's why we're trying to cover as much as we can for the least amount.
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to spend the 13,200 with the 2 inches of recycled base material on that roadway on Bacon Lane North. Let's just do them one at a time. So I'm making that motion.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second on Bacon Lane. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So then I'm gonna make an additional motion for the extra mile that's tacked on to the miles we already approved on rangeland, from Grayvan to Peak at a cost of 19,000. I'll make that motion. You got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. Unfinished business, we don't have any. We have no new business, correspondence.
No correspondence other than the attorney's bill and just the credit card bills.
Okay. Calendar,
On the calendar for this month, the 2 hard copies were sent to the Department of Taxation and Budget. We agendized the road improvement plan. We've done the third quarter economic survey, and the information for the publication of the hearing for May has been set up. And that is all I've got.
okay. And I have a question for the attorney. We have a meeting that's normally scheduled the third Thursday in June, and that's Juneteenth. So are we okay to have the meeting on that night?
Juneteenth now being a state recognized holiday, is that the issue?
Well, I don't know if it's an issue. It's not an issue to me. I just want to make sure if I have the meeting, I'm not.
No, but is that why you're asking the question?
Yeah,
No. Yeah, it is okay to have a meeting on Juneteenth.
okay, perfect. That was great. Thank you.
We get paid time and a half.
I'll make sure you get the check. Yeah.
Checks in the mail.
Paid time and a half at $0 equals, hey, $0.
Okay, perfect. And that's okay with all you, that we have that meeting on June 10th, okay? All right, board member and staff items. All right,
I'd like to report back, that I did contact a couple of the heavy equipment, training facilities, and they were not interested in coming out here to practice.
and that was a comment from David Fritsch?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so they're not interested.
No,
Okay,
thank you.
well, thanks for
I've been
doing,
the operating
thanks for
engineer.
doing that, Julie.
I'm sure Sean's happy about that.
Anybody, anything else? From you guys? No, I got nothing tonight. No, nothing. And then, okay, public comment on matters not on the agenda? Behind you, George.
Pam Roberts for the record. In reviewing the minutes of your last meeting, I believe it came up during the meeting, a discussion about the fact that there's a landowner that has a significant land next to Whiskey Springs that is thinking about developing it because it's within the specific planning area. And I know there's some concerns about, the road and who's gonna pay for the road and all that kind of stuff. And I thought I saw somebody say they were gonna follow it. And I just really encourage somebody to not just wait for them to send the letter to this board. You can assume that they'll send the letter to this board asking, for this board's review of the application to build 390 homes or whatever. I think the board needs to be a little more proactive about that to make sure that you've made contact with a specific person within the county staff to say, hey, we've heard about this. As a condition of approval, and certainly request that have to build all the roads that have access to those homes off of Whiskey Springs because we're not doing it, okay? The GID's not gonna take care of those roads. And two, you could even, I think, that they build from Pyramid Highway to, whatever portion of Whiskey Springs they're gonna use, that they make that to Kent County standards, that they build it in a way that this board believes will handle all that increased traffic that's gonna come from 390 homes. Okay, I'm not saying it's gonna happen for sure. We don't know that, but this board needs to be proactive about it and not wait, because the board that existed before you guys let a lot of stuff happen in the spa that they wish they had stopped or been more persistent about. And I think there's gonna be a lot of unhappy people if this board ends up spending money on something like that or doesn't use what power it has to protect our valley. And that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George?
George Boyce for the record. I'm just going to say that what I was going to bring up. So I think the board does need to take and have somebody, get there before this all gets approved. And then we have no recourse to go back on them and say, hey, we were allowed to do it without them upgrading the road. I think the road needs to be brought to, with building that many homes. I can see if he was saying, oh, we're gonna build 4 or 5. But when you start talking 300 and some homes, that's a lot of homes. That's a lot of traffic. And if you have to maintain that, you're gonna have him over there grading and doing all kinds of stuff that road because it's gonna be tore up all the time. And with all the construction equipment to build those homes, it's not just like cars. You're gonna have dump trucks. You're gonna have all kinds of concrete trucks. It'll tear up Whiskey Springs to no end. He's gonna be over there every day. repairing the road if you guys don't do something about it. That's all I gotta say.
Larry Chesney for the record, before that developer can even submit plans to the county in any preliminary fashion at all, they have to have a posted public meeting in a public place for anybody that's interested to make comment. And those comments have to be, the developer has to document those comments and has to present those to the county for the county to review before he can even submit the preliminary practice. Now, in the case of this development, I understand that what he's done so far has gone to Nevada Public Health, Washoe County Health Department, and submitted his packaged sewer plant. And they have given him a preliminary nod. The last time a packaged sewer plant went in front of the county commission, they booted it because should the homeowners association go defunct, the county ends up owning and maintaining the packaged sewer plant. And they don't want to take on that liability, especially with the budget concerns we have right now. So at the time of that public meeting is when the GID in Mass should probably be there to and be prepared to make the comments.
Can I? This is
Go ahead.
If you give me just a second to report or something after public comment, I'll comment on that too.
Okay.
Matthew Lambert for the record. I just want to let you guys know, I find it completely disingenuous and disrespectful. I asked a basic question based on the operations report, if the road was graded or if you can clarify what happened to the road. And the three of you looked at me like I don't even fucking speak the same language. Someone else asked a question. This is my time. My time.
Yeah, well,
My time.
we're gonna ask you to leave if you don't watch your mouth.
And I can say what I want, okay?
No, you
Stop
can't.
it. Sit back.
This
This
a
is my
public-
time.
This is a public
The
meeting.
attorney
Marshall.
speaking.
Attorney.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's not entirely true that he can say what he wants. He had public comment already once. He's allowed to talk in closing public comment as well. But if he's disruptive or profane, then he can be cut off.
Thank you.
I find it completely disingenuous that somebody else asked a question. Not only was their question answered, but they were hand delivered a bag of rocks for them to look at. All I asked is if the road was graded or if you can clarify it. And you guys looked at me like I spoke a different language. So it's obvious that some questions get answered and some questions are disregarded. And I just want to make that clear that that's wrong. Period. That's it.
Go ahead, if you wanted to make a point.
Well, you know, I have two things to just mention to you. One is, you know, public comment is for making public comment. It's not prohibited that you engage with the public, but you don't have to. So it's a time for them to express their opinions. Certainly, as the board has mentioned at many of your meetings already, questions are always welcome and answered outside of the meetings. And so people also have that option. But during public comment, it's for people to express what they want to say. And there's no obligation to answer the questions. In the case that just happened, I think the question was answered because a board member ultimately asked it, and that's fine as well. With respect to this new development that maybe and apparently is in some phase of planning, what I would suggest, and I think that it was already mentioned, I think that someone should get in touch with county staff right now and request that you receive a notice from staff of all the progress and plans that are being submitted. I think they'll cooperate with you on that, and you'll be able to receive from county staff periodic updates about what's going on. Obviously, it's good for you to go to the public meetings and comment, but I think staff will accommodate as well the issues that you've discussed, which is these roads that are going to be have to be maintained and the damage that's going to be done to them as they currently exist by the construction. Those things are typically imposed on developers. I see no reason why the county wouldn't be doing that, but it's definitely a good idea to be in contact with them right now, because things are, you know, the longer you wait, the more things get sort of worked out between the staff and developers, and they need to hear from you. I would assume they're already taking your interests into consideration, because it's very typical. It's typical conditions for a development like that have to supply the roads, have to pay for the roads and build them to county standards. So I think you should designate someone to reach out, find who the staff people are that are working on it, and ask them to keep you informed about everything that's going on. And then they'll accept your input without, you know, expecting you to be subject to a 3-minute limit or something at a public comment, public meeting.
Great.
At which point we do still have the opportunity to take new roads on or not. And we just aren't taking any new roads on, so that would have to be part of the deal, so.
Yeah. So,
And, you know, that also can involve contact with the DA's office or whoever's, you know, responsible for it, so that they understand that, you know, we're showing an interest as well.
so what I'll do, because now the attorney's telling me to do, so I'll call Dave Solero and I'll reach out to him and find out what I need to do to get the GID put in the loop, this possible future upcoming development. And that's who, the only person I know to call right now, but I'm sure he'll steer me in the right direction. And if you guys don't know, Dave Solero is the Assistant County Manager that deals with the GIDs. So he'll tell me where I need to go. So fair enough? Cool. All right, let's adjourn this. I'll make a motion.
I was having fun.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried, 6:38.
anyway.